Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'm your host, Konrad, on Wednesday Night Reviews. And from superheroes to average Joes, here's what I read this week. So I picked up from my local comic shop, DCeased. This is the hardcover copy, written by Tom Taylor and worked on by a number of artists such as Trevor Hairsine, Stefano Gaudiano, Laura Braga, Richard Friend, James Harren, Darick Robertson, Trevor Scott, Neil Edwards, colors by Beredo, and cover here by Francessco Mattina. Now that is a huge, crazy, big list of artists, and it shows. So this book, I'd always seen the comics. I think the third series is out now called Dead Planet, and I was always interested in it, but I didn't want to pick up the trades. I believe I have the first copy of the first issue somewhere. But like I said, I wasn't huge into it, just because I'm not a big fan of zombies. I think it's a bit of a played-out trope. So I'd heard enough about it. My local comic shop owner had talked about it, and it sounded like a pretty cool idea. And until finally I was like, you know what? It's got a collected edition. I'll pick it up. If nothing else, like, it's beautiful. It'll be something cool I can at least display at Halloween. And yeah, it's a gorgeous book. And boy, did Tom Taylor just destroy me with this one. So I didn't, again, expect much. It's a huge list of artists, and that can be good or bad, because sometimes the art can get very disconnected and feel weird. However, I'm more than happy to report, while there are multiple artists on this one, it never feels totally disconnected. The art is actually very beautiful in the book, just sort of going from page to page. There's some cool stuff that goes on. A little bit gory. Sorry about that. Spoilers. And yeah, it's just a genuinely fun book. So the story basically... this is an Elseworld book, by the way. So if you haven't read main DC continuity, or if you don't particularly like DC continuity, that's fine. This will be actually a point where you can pick it up. All you really need to know is that Darkseid comes to town as he do, to try and, take over Earth, destroy it, convert its population into his parademons, or whatever he wants to do. The Justice League comes and they stop him. Great, this is a tale that's been told a bunch of times. But for this story, he comes, he gets defeated, and, Superman stands up and says, get out of our world, never come back, and rah. And he goes, yeah, okay, no problem, I've got what I want anyway. Peace. And he leaves. And they're all like, okay, well, that was odd. And then Batman notices Cyborg's gone. Basically what happens is this gets involved with the anti-life equation, which is Darkseid's big ultimate evil weapon, which just destroys life blatantly. And he kind of screws with it, and he tries to put it together with a half of it that's in Cyborg and the other half that he has. But in order to do that, Cyborg's human half of him, or human portion of him, would die, which would make this whole thing moot, because it'd be useless. So he calls on Death, the Dark Knight from DC's Dark Universe, grabs him and forces him to do it, creating this death equation. And it infects him, driving him mad, and he goes and he destroys his whole frickin' planet. And then Cyborg boots back to Earth to try and save himself, and he instantly connects into the internet, and this anti-life equation goes viral, basically. Anytime you look at a screen, you get infected. Now, this is all the start of a zombie story. And as I said, I feel that it's all played out. I enjoyed The Walking Dead. I've liked other classic movies from, the zombie genre, specifically Dawn of the Dead, but it's super pop culture right now. It's super overdone. Everyone does zombies, whatever. What I think is cool about this story, because it's an Elseworld story, because Tom Taylor took fun and made this story, and all these artists had a blast drawing it, I feel, there is no holds barred. There is no need to be fitting into continuity. So if they want to do something, they can just do it. If someone needs to get killed or die, bye, you're dead, whatever. But what that does is release you from that stuck point in DC's continuity, where you can just go ahead and do whatever you need to do. If you need to tell a cool story by having a character die, do it. And the way that this story is written, the way that the events unfold, and how quickly they unfold is really what grabbed me and just had me rip through this book in literally one sitting. It was like, I don't know, it's the fastest I've read a book in a long time, even graphic novels. And this is not by any means like a big graphic novel. It's not dense, it's not hard to get through. And I think that's what makes this book so freaking deadly. So there's actually something I thought was interesting while I was reading this. The heroes, or whoever's the narrator, you're not actually sure who it is until the end of the book, but the narrator of this story literally even says in one line, everything happened so fast, we didn't have time to think, we just had to react. And this book does that to you. You just keep reacting, you keep reading, you find out what happens next, and next, and next. And having this as one collected edition, I think, allowed me to do that. And I think for anyone who'd read the comics and had to wait for them to come out, oh my god, I feel sorry for you. Because that would just be, like, hugely, like, I would have all this tension, I would hate it. So guys, obviously I've blathered on about the book. Yes, it's fantastically written. None of the characters feel weird or different from how they should in continuity. It's like Superman feels like Superman. Batman feels like Batman. Oliver Queen, Canary, the Green Lanterns, they all feel like they should. So this could exist within continuity, but because of what happens, DC wasn't going to let that happen. So guys, again, this has been DCeased by Tom Taylor and a team of artists who I'll put up all over the screen again here. And absolutely, you should check this out. Even if you don't care for superhero stories, this isn't really a superhero story. It's just a wicked story with superheroes in it. Obviously, the art, it's so varied. There's so many different artists in it that help make this book fabulous. But it's all great art. I don't want spoilers. I'm trying to find some art I can show you guys. Okay, here. It's a wonderful opening shot of them beating Darkseid down. And as you can see, the Justice League looks very heroic as they do, and Darkseid basically taking up the entirety of this page. Massive dude. And let's see if we can get a shot. Perfect. Here's another shot from a different artist who's working on Cyborg on Darkseid's planet being tortured. And yeah, like there's many varying styles, but it never feels disjointed. The story carries it that well, and the characters, the way they're written and their voices just pull you right through. So obviously, guys, the writing is fabulous, the art is fabulous. Even with so many different styles of art, it never feels disjointed, and that just might be how quickly I got through it. But it works well. Those styles clearly work together because you just get pulled through this book. And like I said, in one sitting I downed this book. It took me no time at all. I loved it. And even more so beyond that, for a full 5 stars, even now I'm thinking about this book. And I want to go out and read DCeased Unkillables, which happens apparently at the same time, but it has to do with what other characters do. And I cannot wait for the hardcover of DCeased Dead Planet, which is I suppose it's the appropriate sequel to this, to come out in hardcover as well, so I can have all 3 of them sitting beautifully on my shelf, because that's the spine, and I just think that's gorgeous. But yeah, it floored me. So again, 5 out of 5. Tom Taylor killed the writing. The team of artists rocked it, and you, right now, should pick this up at your local comic book store. If you don't have a local comic book store, I'm sure you're able to find one. If not, check out Chapters, Barnes & Noble, Kohl's, any sort of local bookstore that you can. And after that, try and order it online through perhaps DC directly or another local publishing company. Alright guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been my review of DCeased by DC Comics and Tom Taylor. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Hit that like button, subscribe for more, and of course, leave a comment on what you thought of DCeased. Did you hate it? Did you love it? Did you think it was too kishy and too zombie? Was it not enough? And yeah, let's start a conversation. Have a great one. book, written by Tom Taylor. This might take a while. And the artists on the book are Trevor Hairsine, Stefano... Holy crap, this is going to take a minute.